Have you ever noticed how we grow up believing that power comes with responsibility, and then one day you watch a real story unfold and your brain just freezes? You look at the headlines, you read the court documents, you hear the names involved, and something inside you quietly asks, how did this happen? Not in a dramatic way, more in a slow, disoriented way, like when you step off an escalator that isn't moving and your body stumbles for half a second. That's the feeling a lot of people had when they realized how many powerful people surrounded and protected Jeffrey Epstein for years. Most of us were raised on a simple assumption. If someone does something terrible, especially something criminal, people with influence will expose it, distance themselves, protect the innocent. That's the story we're told. So power equals accountability, status equals higher standards. And when reality doesn't match that story, the discomfort isn't just moral, it's psychological. Your brain is trying to reconcile two ideas that don't fit together. So instead of asking, what's wrong with them? A more revealing question is, what's going on in the human mind when power, identity, and fear collide? Because as unsettling as this case is, it didn't happen because humans suddenly stopped being human. It happened because they were being painfully, predictably human. Let me show you what I mean. Imagine you're at a dinner party, nothing fancy, just people talking, laughing, trading stories. Now imagine one person at that table controls access, introductions, opportunities, invitations, careers. Suddenly that person isn't just a guest anymore. They're a hub. And your brain notices, not consciously, subtly. You lean in a little more, you laugh a little louder, you remember their name. That's not corruption, that's social wiring. Now take that same wiring and scale it up to elite circles. Billionaires, politicians, royalty, media executives. The human brain didn't evolve for systems that large. It evolved for tribes, for staying inside the group, for avoiding exile. And exile, to the social brain, feels like danger, real danger. Here's the thing nobody talks about. When someone becomes powerful enough, they stop being perceived as just a person. They become infrastructure, a bridge, a shortcut, a shield. And when accusations arise against someone like that, the brain of everyone around them doesn't immediately go to morality, it goes to consequence. What happens if this is true? Well, what collapses if we acknowledge it? That question alone explains a lot of silence. Psychologists call this motivated reasoning. It's when your brain unconsciously bends information to protect something it values. Not because you're lying to yourself on purpose, but because the alternative feels too destabilizing. If acknowledging the truth threatens your identity, your safety, your social standing, or your future, your brain will try to soften that truth, delay it, reframe it, compartmentalize it. And here's where people get uncomfortable, because we like to believe that only bad people do this. But studies show motivated reasoning shows up everywhere, in politics, in relationships, in families, even in science. We all protect the stories that protect us. Now add power to that equation. Here, there's research suggesting that people in high-status positions experience reduced sensitivity to threat, not because they don't understand harm, but because they're buffered from it. When consequences rarely reach you, your nervous system learns a different version of reality. Risk feels abstract, rules feel negotiable, boundaries feel flexible. At the same time, power is deeply rewarding to the brain. Control releases dopamine. Influence reinforces self-importance. Access becomes intoxicating. And once the brain associates certain people with that reward, it becomes very hard to see them clearly, especially when seeing clearly would require giving something up. Think of it like this. Your brain doesn't like tearing down houses it's spent years building. And for many powerful people, where their entire sense of self is built on proximity to influence. They're not just successful, they are insiders. They belong. And belonging, psychologically speaking, is one of the strongest motivators we have. So when allegations surface, the mind doesn't say, "What's the right thing to do?" It says, "Who will I become if I do it? Will I still be invited? Will I still be relevant? Will I still matter?" Those questions rarely get spoken out loud, but they shape behavior all the same. There's also something quieter happening beneath the surface. Emotional distance. It's much easier to empathize with someone you've shared meals with, laughed with, built history with. It's harder to emotionally connect to people you've never met, whose suffering exists mostly as reports, testimonies, or numbers. The brain prioritizes what feels close. The familiar faces trigger empathy faster than unfamiliar victims. That doesn't mean people don't care. It means empathy is biased by proximity, and when proximity aligns with power, the imbalance becomes dangerous. Another layer is diffusion of responsibility. When everyone knows something, no one feels fully responsible for acting. Each person assumes someone else will step in. Someone higher up, someone more qualified, someone braver. Psychologists have studied this effect for decades, and it shows up in emergencies, workplaces, and yes, elite institutions. In powerful networks, responsibility becomes blurry by design. Decisions are spread across committees, advisors, legal teams, and intermediaries. This creates plausible deniability, but it also creates psychological comfort. If no one person feels like the moral gatekeeper, see, no one has to feel the full weight of inaction. And then there's fear. Not dramatic fear, quiet fear. The kind that whispers, "This could ruin you." Careers end, reputations collapse, doors close forever. For someone whose identity is built on influence, that kind of loss feels existential, like social death. So silence becomes a coping strategy, not a noble one, but a human one. What makes this especially disturbing is how normal it feels from the inside. From the outside, it looks like evil. From the inside, it feels like continuity, keeping things stable, avoiding chaos, preserving the system. And systems, once established, have a powerful instinct to protect themselves. You can see this pattern throughout history. Institutions closing ranks, scandals buried, whistleblowers punished. It's not because everyone agrees. It's because disruption threatens everyone differently, and those with the most to lose often have the loudest influence. This doesn't mean morality disappears in powerful people. It means it competes with incentives, and incentives are persuasive. They shape attention, they shape interpretation, they shape silence. If you're watching this and feeling unsettled, that reaction matters. It means your internal compass is working. It means you're noticing the gap between how we want power to behave and how it actually does. That awareness isn't naive. It's rare. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. Most of us like to believe we'd act differently, that we'd speak up, that we'd walk away, and maybe some would. But psychology teaches us humility. Context shapes behavior more than character alone. Put enough pressure on identity, belonging, win and safety, and even well-meaning people can rationalize the unthinkable. Understanding this doesn't excuse harm, it explains it. An explanation is powerful because it removes the illusion that these outcomes are random. They're not. They're patterned, predictable, and that means they can be anticipated, challenged, and changed if we're willing to design systems that account for human psychology instead of pretending it doesn't exist. So maybe the deeper lesson here isn't just about one man or one network. It's about what happens when power goes unchecked, when silence is rewarded, and when belonging becomes more important than truth. If this story left you feeling disoriented, that's okay. Sometimes clarity feels like discomfort before it feels like understanding. Let yourself sit with it. Ask yourself where you've seen smaller versions of this in everyday life, in workplaces, in families, in social groups. And if you want to keep exploring the psychology behind silence, power, and moral blindness, stay curious. Leave a comment with what stood out to you. Subscribe if you want more conversations like this. You're not broken for questioning this. You're paying attention.